Hi, this is Mark Morris from Squared Co, and you're listening to the Master of One podcast. You can find my sweet stuff on Instagram at Squared Co.
Welcome to another episode of the Master of One podcast, the podcast that's recorded on a hidden island inhabited by Amazon women. Part 1 this week, we talk about Lupin Ball, Patreon's redesign, and Wonder Woman. I'm Andrew, your Master of Art and Design.
I'm Patrick, your Master of Television and Film.
And I'm Luke, your Master of Toys and Games.
So get your whips ready, because it's time for Truth or Dare.
That sounds just weird, kind of.
We like to kick every episode off by going around the table, which is where we talk about something new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Luke, you look like a guy who's had a week. Why don't you tell us about it?
All right. Okay, so actually a lot of my week, not a lot, just the last couple days, I've been with Patrick. It's been awesome. So Patrick came to Ohio, and we hung out. And we had
radio
dinner.
Silence on the text thread.
Yeah, it was like when the same thing happens when like you guys were at like the Disney meetup and you were at.
I will say though, we make intentional steps to text you when we're there. We're like, oh, we should probably text Luke.
Oh, okay.
It is true because there have been some just issues in the past. Just want to make sure everybody feels in. Oh, I'll say this. We felt bad that you couldn't be with us when we went to the gallery. Yeah. So, I don't think we felt bad that, I don't think Andrew's, pouting because he didn't go to Canton, Ohio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Says you.
It's true. Yeah, but you were on your own vacation.
Come on, spoiler alert.
Okay, fine. Keep going,
It's
Luke.
fine. I'm taking his thunder for his around the table. It doesn't matter. But yeah, we hung out. And other than that, man, the boys are watching Aladdin. Milo had never seen it. Jonas had seen it once before, and we're watching in our van. We have a DVD player, and so they're watching it. And so when I drive, I just hear the audio, and it's amazing how much of that movie I know just from memory.
Dude, I totally get that.
I noticed one thing today that I thought was really just funny. There's a part where Jafar says to Iago, he says, "I love the way your foul little mind works." When they're talking about him marrying the princess and then getting rid of the sultan and the princess. And I thought, wouldn't it have made more sense if he would have said, "I love the way your little foul mind works," because a bird and foul, that would have been more clever.
Yeah, that would have been more clever,
right? How many 100 times have I seen that movie, and I just thought of it now.
And this is your audition tape now for Disney writers, right?
Nope. No, I don't want
Writers
to do
Guild.
that. Nope. That's a cesspool. You don't want to.
Well, you'd have to be literate.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit is all you need to do. But yeah, my week has been just pretty normal. Nothing crazy. So somebody else take it away. Patrick?
I'll take it because it actually doesn't make sense. It's great though. So this week, I was hung out with Luke and that was awesome. And also saw a movie. That's another spoiler. We're gonna get to it. But got a great gift in the mail, and this gift comes by way of Mr. Lucas Crana. And by the way, Lucas with a K, just right there in the middle of it. That's the only way to spell Lucas. I love that. But Lucas is from Swindon, United Kingdom, and he is a...
You mean to say Sweden?
Nope, Swindon.
Swindon's not in the United Kingdom.
Well, that's what I was just clarifying.
Yeah, thank you for that. Is a good clarification.
It's an IKEA.
But he is a
He lives at IKEA.
He lives in IKEA, United Kingdom. But yeah, he's an illustrator and he does coloring, and I'm sure there's much more technical terms than what I just said. And he did a Metalhead print. So this is the Metalhead 2 print, and it's a cover that he illustrated and again colored and shaded and all that kind of stuff. But he's offering 50 of these for sale. So he actually sent us 3 of them. We got numbers 3, 4, and 5 respectively, and they just look beautiful. So very excited to finally get to hang mine up, which will happen as soon as I dry out a bit. I'm a tad bit sweaty right now. I just want to let everybody know that. That's just do with that information. Yeah, do with that information what you will.
Behind that curtain.
It's a damp curtain.
It is. I got a soggy bottom right now for sure. So, but anyway, I
am a man of constant sorrow.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Got a closing song now. Anyway, but it's a great piece. So go check it out. I already put the links in the show notes, so you can check out Lucas's work. And he's over at layout.inc, and then you can check out the Metalhead print as well. It's on his Etsy store. But again, it's an awesome little print and super talented. Lucas is one of the other guys that's in Slack. So if you're just being a holdout, quit it. Join the Slack community, mof1podcast.com/Slack, and join other people like Lucas. He's LKR Draw in there. But I think there's like 210 members. We definitely have a pretty large active bunch, and you don't have to be an artist to be in there. You can just be a fan. You can be a consumer. You can be the mom of an artist. Like anything, you're welcome. Jump in, chat with us, chat with the other people, meet these people, because it's going to make your life better. So that's my stuff. Andrew, go ahead and close us out.
About that turtle piece, real quick. Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't say this because I didn't think of it. I like his take. I mean, I thought of it when I saw it, but when you were saying that you got it, I also got one too. So thank you, Lucas. I like his take on the turtles. Like his stylization of them it's a refreshing look. It's something that I haven't quite seen yet.
So you guys both received one in the mail?
Patrick,
or did you purchase them?
And he gave it to me.
Okay,
well,
cool.
Yeah, you have one too, Andrew. I just have to ship it to you, and I'm gonna throw it in the box with the. I could have communicated this better, but I'm gonna. I have like a care package that's going out to Andrew tomorrow. That's going to be one of the things in that package. So
sweet. I
hand delivered Luke's when I went up to Ohio.
Yes.
So this
gotcha.
the perk. So
I'm tracking.
And let me say one more thing. I wanted to tell that I feel compelled. This is like a big part of my weekend, and I feel compelled to tell it. I want people to view this as encouragement, but you're also going to get some laughter out of this. When I went to Ohio, I was supposed to fly to Ohio. I booked the plane ticket like a month ago, and in fact, I wasn't going to be on tonight's episode. We were going to have a guest host. Because I was still supposed to be in the air. The plane wasn't supposed to land until 10:30 in Chattanooga. And peek behind the curtain, right now we're recording, and it's like about 8:30ish right now. So Eastern. So I was supposed to still be 2 hours out. And it got to the about 2 days before. And listen, I love flying. I absolutely do. I enjoy flying so much, not just the act of doing it. I also love learning about it. I've talked about like flight simulators on the show before, and big advocate of just all of it. It's all super safe, and you shouldn't be scared if you're scared. But I got about 2 days out, and I started having like a lot of apprehension about taking the trip, about flying to Ohio. I got to the day before. In fact, I got to about 12 hours before I was supposed to board my flight, and I couldn't do it. Like mentally, I was having call it whatever you will. I could not bring myself to get on that plane. There was no way it was going to happen. So I told Mackenzie, I was like, we can drive to Ohio or you can go without me, but I'm not getting on that plane tomorrow. That was it. And so we got in the car and we drove the 9 hours to see Luke. But because of that, we actually left and we came back. I know Mackenzie's behind me just shaking her head because this is ridiculous to her. And then we ended up, because we drove, we didn't have to wait to get on our plane. We were able to leave this morning and come back. And or we left yesterday, went to Cincinnati, and then this morning finished the trip. And so I was able to get back early and able to record now. So I say all that to say,
the plane went down, and it was a good thing you didn't get on it.
No, I wanted to make the point that it is okay to just, whatever those instincts are, if it's intuition or whatever it is, just do it. I remember being younger and like getting in the car with someone, and the dude was driving way too fast, but I didn't want to like be the wimp that asked him to slow down. But if that dude had like wrapped the car around the tree, then I would have wished I would have said something. You know. So just if you ever have this moment of anything, intuition, apprehension, if you just that gut feeling, just lean into that. Don't worry about what people think about you. Yeah, you may go way out of your way and drive 9 hours, and instead of taking a 2-hour plane ride, but it is what it is. I did it, and it's fine. Like it's just be cool, being yourself, and doing what feels right to you. It's not a weak thing, and so that's all. Andrew, you can go ahead now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good public service announcement for sure. Speaking of following your gut and going after, the thing that you're thinking is the right thing, our friends over at M Squared have started a new podcast. And so just want to give a shout out to those guys. It's hosted by Mark Morris and our buddy Jared Mariyama. And
Mark
so
McGuire.
What? Shut up. It's not Mark McGuire. So go check out, what did I think it was? Mark Davis? Is that what I thought it was when yeah. But anyway, Mark Morris and Jared Mariyama, the M Squared podcast. Episode 1 is up, I believe.
It's
a bit listen to this.
It's a bit of a soft
SoundCloud,
launch. It's like a bit of a soft launch. I was actually talking with him about it today for a bit, and it's. I don't think you can find it on iTunes yet. It's not like fully packaged yet. They're just working on like burning through getting some episodes recorded. But so consider this a soft launch. You're one of the early adopters. You know this secret before other people. Go check it out, and then when it does actually fully launch, and you can tell all your friends that you were there first.
Yeah. So, something that I think that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say, but I appreciate you jumping in on that one. So go check out the podcast and give it a listen. So congratulations to those guys. Anyway, it's kind of what I wanted to say there as a segue into my around the table. I am like Luke alluded to earlier, or Patrick alluded to earlier, on vacation, and so I'm coming to you from my mobile studio. That looks absolutely ridiculous. I just, oh man, getting set up tonight. I'm so grateful for my podcast studio at home. Oh my gosh. But anyway, we made it happen. I'm here. And it's been a really, really cool vacation. We stopped in Dallas for a day, and then, we came out to Bentonville, Arkansas, which seems like that's like not even a thing like that people would want to go do. But it's a really, really nice area, and we took a bike ride today that was eventful.
That's for sure one thing to say about it.
We've gone hiking and done some things, but the area is super, super nice. But here's what I'm really excited about: leaving. So let me elaborate on that a little bit. Wednesday, so the day after this airs, Chandra and I are going away for the day to Kansas City to visit all of the stomping grounds of Walt Disney, like where he grew up, his family home, go to the park where he had the original idea for Disneyland, go to the Laugh-O-Gram Studios, because the building is still there, which was his original building where he developed animation and everything. So we're getting to do that, and I'm like super stoked. I don't know if the Laugh-O-Gram building has been completely renovated yet. I know in 2015 there was a petition to remodel it and get it back up and running for tours and things. So it's been a couple of years. So maybe it is up. I don't know. It's kind of hard to find information out about it. Gotcha. But man, I'm so excited about that. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you know that I love Disney. He's one of those heroes, and to be able to walk in his footsteps is going to be really exciting. It's just like 3 hours from here, so we're going to take a day trip to Kansas City and hopefully grab a little bit of the magic that's there. So that happened. While we were here, we went on this adventure to find neon yellow Joy-Cons, and I say adventure, we went to place after place after place to get the neon yellow Joy-Cons when ARMS came out on Friday, and I think it was our 5th place had it, and there were 3 people in line, and they had 2 pairs of them, so I was the second one in line, and I got the last pair, so it was very much like, and the guy behind me was like, I guess you don't have any more of those Joy-Cons, do you? He's like, sorry, man.
What made these so special?
They're yellow.
Well, They're yellow. They've just been really highly anticipated. People have been pre-selling them on eBay for like lots of dollars.
Can you give me an example of lots of dollars?
I saw a pair on there that was like $140.
And how much are they normally?
They are $85. So
Okay.
almost double the cost, and they're just controllers. They're not anything special, but they came out in conjunction with arms, and not every place got them. Like Walmart doesn't carry them right now, for instance. So I had to get it at GameStop. And anyway, I'm really happy with them. They're super cool to put on the Switch. And since we're here, we're staying with Chandra's brother. We've got 4 people. We've been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a ton, and so now we have 4 Joy-Cons because we got that set. So anyway, I'm really excited about those. And then the final thing that I wanted to say is for my Around the Table, I am like ecstatic about. If you're listening to this on record day, today you can go and pick up from Mondo some really great Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen art prints, and then you can also get the statue that if you listened to our last episode, I believe, with Brock Otterbacher, the collectibles and toy guy from Mondo.
Yeah.
He talked all about that process, and he talked about the switchable hands. Like there's one with a selfie, like where she's taking a selfie, and then one where she's shooting a web. And I believe the Mondo exclusive, which we haven't seen yet, as of this recording, is going to be an unmasked Gwen Stacy, which is going to be pretty sweet. But it's the actual design of the statue is based off of the Phantom City Creative print that they did of the same image a couple years back, and it is beautiful.
Oh, it looks amazing. And I was going to say that print, that's by artist Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And they're 18 by 24. They're not the big 24 by 36 that we think of typically for Mondo. It's 18 by 24, so it's much more manageable. And in the variant print, which there's only 100 of those, Gwen is unmasked. It's just her in like her normal
hair's
clothes.
Flowing and so I have Rosemary. What's her last name? Rosemary.
It's a Valero O'Connell.
Valero. Okay. So I have a Ninja Turtle print that she did for the Nickelodeon show in my studio. I think you saw it. If you say it's the 4 turtles sitting on top of the building, and it's like really cute. It's like kind of got a cute deal, but there's lots of details in it that are kind of monocolored, and so I super dig her style and the work that she puts out. So anyway,
if you're dense.
Oh, it's so, yeah. If you are a Spider-Man fan or a Spider-Gwen fan specifically, you're gonna flip over these pieces.
Yeah.
If you're just a fan of great art, you're gonna also love these pieces. So anyway, go check out Mondo's site today. They'll go up around noon-ish. If you're on the Eastern Seaboard, is that how you? That's yeah. The Eastern Coast, Easternal Coast.
We say CB. We would say the Eastern CB. But you can say the full seaboard if you want to.
The full seaboard.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be SB?
CB. I think no. It's like it's SEA. So like C, and then the B from board. I'm just leaving out the ORD part. So I'm just saying CB.
That's way more efficient.
It rolls off the tongue better than SB.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and call that quits for the Around the Table. Up next, it's time for Master Categories. So the Master Categories section of every show is when we get to talk about the tokens we drew the week before. And so this week, I believe, Luke, you're the only one with their actual category. So why don't you kick us off?
Okay. So I am going to talk, I'm talking about a game right now. So remember when I went to PAX a couple months ago?
How could I forget?
In Boston. So I saw a whole bunch of games.
I honestly forgot.
Okay, cool. So I saw a whole bunch of games that are in development and yet to be released. Some of them are trickling out. We've seen some that have been released so far. But one of them that I got to play that kind of like had a little cult following at PAX, and just people were talking about it everywhere. It helped that Twitch was going around with like a mobile game station. In long lines, they would just roll this game station up with a TV and have people play this game. And I met the developer, so I've contacted him. We'll see if we can get him on the show. But I'm talking about this game called Lupin Ball, and
Fallen Cup.
Lupin Ball.
Okay.
And the idea is it's a 4-player game. It's a 4-player battle game. And you each are playing a little dog. So that's where Lupin comes in, Lupine or whatever. So you're this little dog or wolf, and you're in this arena, and you're chasing these little orbs. And once you get 3 of them, then you can shoot a big energy ball out. And when it hits somebody, it knocks them out of the game. They're out. And and then you play like 4 different rounds. Whoever wins the most out of those rounds wins the game. And it's like super fast gameplay. There's games that are over in almost like 30 seconds, and then some take like 4 or 5 minutes, and you'll have just tons of these energy balls hitting around. They bounce off the walls and they fill up the arena, and it's just chaos. But it's like 8-bit graphics. It's super simple. And
is it like when you get like the bonus like 5 balls in pinball? And
Yeah,
you don't know where to look, and you're just slapping the flappers.
Exactly.
What was like the 8-bit looking like football game or Excite
Bowl?
Bike?
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks like
Excite Bike.
Excite Bike or like Tecmo Bowl. Yes, that's exactly what it reminds me of.
And so it's not out yet. It's in a closed beta. But if you go to so do you guys, either of you know what Discord is? Patrick, you might know what Discord is. It's like a chat service.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like TeamSpeak kind of. You can create a Discord profile and then talk to people online, like kind of like Skype or again, I said TeamSpeak or Instant Messenger, whatever. Slack, kind of like that. But if you go to
What's
Discord,
the one everybody used in WoW?
yeah,
It was
Ventrilo.
TeamSpeak and there's Ventrilo.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, got it. Go ahead.
But Discord, if you go to discord.me/lupinball, LUPINBALL, they might be giving away beta keys still. They're doing beta tests almost every weekend. They have these Lupin Ball parties where people just get on and play tons of games. It's so fun and so addicting. It's a Steam download, so they give you a Steam key to play the game. And I believe they said it's gonna, when it releases wide, it'll be Steam and Xbox, I think. I don't know about PS4, but man, this game is so simple and so addicting. It reminds me of those like back for original Xbox, there were like party like battle games, and it's kind of like gone away. The only ones you see now are like Mario Party, but it reminds me of that feel where it's just every man for themselves, very quick, fun games.
Well, you're not the only one that feels this way, because it won in 2015 the PAX Indies Showcase. It was a finalist with the Made with Unity in Melbourne. It was selected for the PAX Roadshow for PAX South 2017, selected for PAX Rising and PAX East. This game's getting awards, and
awesome.
it's not even out yet.
Totally worth it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, go check out discord.me/lupinball. See if you can get a key and play. It's really quick and it's awesome. So that's it. Just check out Lupin Ball and just look for it when it's released. I don't know when that'll be. So
rock and roll. All right, who are you talking it to? Who are you talking it to?
Who are you talking
You're
it
already
to?
talking, so you keep going.
Oh well, that was bad. So you're gonna toss it to me then?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I had TV and film this week, and I'm actually going to talk about a movie I saw 2 weeks ago, but I'm excited because now the two of you have seen it as well. So now we can dialogue a little bit more about it. It's the movie that a lot of people have been raving over, and it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And so if you're if you're unfamiliar with Wonder Woman, it is a character from the DC Comics universe. She's part of the Justice League. Honestly, if you're unfamiliar with Wonder Woman, you probably don't listen to this show. I mean, that's like, full, you right? I mean, right? So that's probably a fair assumption.
You're not the target demographic.
But this is the first film in years, since the 70s, I believe, of Wonder Woman, a totally different take on it. It's an origin story, a great gateway into the DC universe, and we'll talk about our feelings about it here in a second. But it essentially is the story of oh my gosh, it's Diana, and I can't remember Diana of something, and I can't remember the of something right now. But Diana, who is Wonder Woman. Being born and raised and trained as a warrior on this Amazonian island that is hidden to the eye from the normal humans, so it stars Gal Gadot, and she's amazing. She's Wonder Woman. Chris Pine is kind of the main man interest, if that's a thing that you can say.
Yeah,
Mantrist.
Connie Nielsen and Robin Wright. So it was nice to see Robin outside of what I've been seeing her as for the last few years, which is Claire Underwood. It's a totally different take, although just as badass, honestly. So I don't know that it was completely different.
What's amazing is that, because I saw the film and I of course saw her face, and there was a moment I thought to myself, like, is that who that is? And then I couldn't tell, because you always saw her with like the helmet on and stuff like that. So I didn't actually fully realize it was Claire Underwood.
Sure, yeah, it's Claire Underwood, and you know she played the princess in The Princess Bride, right?
Yeah.
I actually didn't remember that because I saw The Princess Bride. I saw that film a while ago, and definitely before I saw anything to do with House of Cards. And so no, I did not remember that.
That is who that is. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
So as you wish. But anyway, I believe
she was Ginny in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's all coming full circle for you now.
Oh my gosh! That's go ahead.
She's got quite a resume. But as far as
she's
Gal,
like 3 of my favorite women.
As far as Gal Gadot is concerned, has she done anything major? Have you seen her in anything major?
Not
yet?
that I can remember.
Well, let me say this: no one has been talking about her.
Right.
I mean,
so
certainly. I mean, I see her. She has her filmography includes some of the Fast
Keeping
and
Up with
Furious
the
films.
Joneses,
and
Fast and Furious.
certainly they obviously she had a very small part in Batman versus Superman when they were like introducing her in the universe. But no one was talking about her before this.
Well, so here's the deal. I would call this her breakout role, because she did an amazing job in this film. So I don't know how you guys felt about the movie yet. We haven't talked about this, but I thought the film was fantastic. And I don't look at ratings, right? So I don't get caught up in the ratings. That's Patrick's game. It's a young man's game, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm the oldest man here.
This is
we all know that's not true.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 92%. So
It's
it's
the oldest
certified
man.
fresh, which I believe it eclipses any other DC movie,
Well,
right?
what's funny is you said that this was a good introduction to the DC universe. This should be your only introduction to the DC universe.
Yeah.
Because this is so far and away, frankly, better than the other films in the franchise. And so not only is it the highest rated, it also has the distinction, I believe, of being the highest grossing film for an opening weekend for a female director.
Okay, so that's the other thing. This is directed by a female, and this is a true power punch of girl power, because the storytelling in this is so well done. The acting in this is so well done. There's twists in it which you don't necessarily expect, and in like this kind of film. I mean, I know you expect something to happen at the climax of the film, but there's some twists in this that make it really truly a movie that could be in contention for legitimate awards, not just special effects or whatever, which were fantastic, but the acting and the story in this make this, I think, could make it a contender for some legitimate films, or for some legitimate awards. And so I would say absolutely go see this film. It takes place during World War II. And specifically the well, I won't give anything away, but just go and see the film. It reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones. Like the pacing of the film, Luke is looking at me like okay, take me where you're going with this, but
I'm very intrigued.
Bear with me. The characterization, the just go get 'em attitude of her while she's still new to this thing and she's still a little bumbly in the beginning of it. With Chris Pines, I would say that it's like an Indiana Jones film if Indiana Jones' character were split into two people. Is that a fair thing to say? Because I think she took on like the heroic stuff and he was kind of the comic relief of it, which in Indiana Jones it's the same. But I feel like what?
I do want to jump in and correct you before this gets too far away. It's set in World War I.
World War I. Sorry, did I say 2?
You did say 2, but it's fine. Go ahead. Some people were just like vibrating with anticipation of correcting you, and so I just needed to get it out there before the tweets came in. So
sorry. Okay.
Keep
cool.
going.
Thanks. Thanks for keeping us honest. I felt like it had that action adventure flair of Indiana Jones, and it just harkened back to me. Maybe a lot of it had to do with the setting. Maybe a lot of it had to do with the costuming, because there's so much of Indiana Jones that kind of takes place in that. There was a whip, yeah. So, but for me, I had a great time with it. I thought it was really, really fun. What was your guys' take on it?
Luke, why don't you go first?
Okay. Man. Okay. So I didn't like it. Like, I don't know how to lead into that song.
I freaking knew it. I knew it.
So here's the thing. I really wanted to like it. Like, I saw the previews and I was like, man, this looks good. And I found myself like, as we see the Amazons on the island, we see like their world, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, it feels like they're setting a really good like history for this. And then the things happen, and she's then, kind of thrust into our world, and it felt like this like really cliche fish out of water. Like, just right is right, and we're just gonna go do it because that's what right is. And like, it felt just really cheesy and corny, and Chris Pine, like, I kind of just didn't really care about his character. I felt like the bad guy, like, it felt like every plot point, every twist that came, I was like, yeah, that makes sense of what you would do. Like, there was nothing that happened that was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like, nothing.
Literally, you called the major twist. You called that.
I didn't call it. No, I didn't actually call it. I didn't lean over to Patrick and say it. But
Let me just say there are kind of I would say there's two twists. There's a twist on the good side and a twist on the bad side.
Yeah.
Right.
I called the twist on the good side. I called
good twist. But there was like just weird things. Like, I don't know. It just felt like I just didn't like it. It felt like really, really lazy writing, lazy storytelling.
It's so funny to me.
It was, man, for me, the best part was Ewan Bremner that we know from Trainspotting as Spud. Like, he was the best part of the whole movie. In the movie, he plays Charlie, the sniper. Best part of the movie for me.
You thought he was the best part of the movie?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. Let me bring a little sanity to this. Although I will say, so I did like his character, but
go ahead.
I will, and I told you this, Luke, and so I'm gonna try not to do spoilers. I'm gonna go ahead and mark what I'm about to say as spoilers, just because I know what some people classify as spoiler is like. So there's a gray area.
Sure.
So I'm calling this spoilers. You've all been warned, but I will try to be careful.
Keeping in mind that there is a whole nother master category after this and the close of the show.
I know you have to come back.
So don't hang out.
What I was going to say is, like, I like Bremner's character, but I don't think they spend enough time with him because they introduce us to a piece of his psyche, right?
Yeah.
His like struggle, his thing, and then they never resolve it. They just leave us with it.
But they do that with every character. We only meet all of these characters, and then we're done.
It feels like they wrote the script, shot the thing, and then reshot 50% of it and then just left in all these loose ends. So I struggled a bit with it. Now, let me say this. I do disagree, Luke. I thought Chris Pine was my favorite part of the film. Yeah. I really like Chris Pine's character. Certainly Gal Gadot, I thought she was great. It actually, they played the humor part of it better than I expected. The previews felt a bit cheesy, and the previews felt a bit too quippy. But within the context of the film, it actually worked very well. I don't think I was put off by the pacing of the film. Like I think they got into it pretty quick. I thought Ludendorff was a total throwaway. He didn't even need to be in the film. I did really like the character of Dr. Maru.
But we don't see much.
But I was going to say, again, they don't really give us any of her background. We don't really learn very much about her motivations. We're not really sure what's driving her.
That character was just such a, everything that you just throw in for this chemist type of bad guy.
Because she seemingly has a very soft moment towards the end of the film, but we have no context to believe that that's real or to believe that could happen. So again, it just goes, we had a lot of characters, but not a lot of character development overall. So it did feel pretty cliche. I do think it's easily... initially, I was a little on the fence because I actually liked Batman v Superman better than the average person.
That's what I said to you when we were walking out. I was like, I know it's initial right after the movie, but I think I like Batman v Superman better.
No way.
Yes.
In thinking back about it, I am remembering it more fondly, and I will say I still put this above Batman v Superman, but I don't think it's like a 40-point spread. Like I don't think it's a huge difference. And I will say, I think something that may plague all of us, like I have to ask my question, what if I saw this film before I saw 30 freaking other superhero films? How would I feel?
Sure.
And I would probably hold this in a lot higher regard. We are struggling with the fact that the superhero film as a whole is getting very old right now.
Yeah, they're having to reinvent it a little bit. I'm not saying that they did reinvent it with this one. This one for me had enough nostalgia, not because of the character, but because of the way the movie played for me. I think I was remembering, like I said, Indiana Jones. Like I was channeling Indiana Jones through this film, I loved it, and I thought the storytelling of it was great. I saw it with another dude as well. The two of us went and saw it together, and
Luke and I saw it together. Man, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite scene in the movie, and I'm not going to say what it is because, like I said, even though I called spoilers, I'm trying to be very light. I'm going to make a hand gesture, but there's a part in the movie, Andrew, where things are happening, and this guy goes. That was like my favorite scene from the film. It is related to a helmet, but when he does oh my gosh, I loved it, and no one else knows
I have no idea
what
what you're talking about. Off air, you'll have to explain that scene.
I'll tell you off air because I do think
it's a spoiler for sure.
That would be a spoiler, so I won't give it away. There were a couple really pretty moments in the film. There were some really fun action sequences.
I will say that it looked incredible
when she and now this is in the previews, when she freaking ripped up all the guys in that small village and totally wrecked that church. That was an awesome sequence of events. Loved that. Would have loved to have spent a bit more time there. I would have loved to have seen a raiding party just jumping from city to city. So
if you liked the look of Pan's Labyrinth, that setting, the war era stuff, if you liked again Indiana Jones and those kind of things, I think you'll like this film. I'm
not telling you not to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that either.
I'm fine that I saw it.
It does not live up to the hype. That's all I'm saying.
I would tend to agree with Luke. I don't think it
did. That's fine. I saw the film I saw right before seeing that one in the DC universe was Batman vs Superman, which I thought was the bottom rung. So for me, I was like, sweet, anything is better than that.
Suicide Squad better?
Suicide Squad probably twice as much as Batman vs Superman. Yeah. Oh, I hated Batman vs Superman. The whole crux of that movie hinders on one thing. It hinders on one. I think it's okay to say at this point because we're beyond spoil. It hinders on. Wait a minute, you have a mom too? Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, for me, that's the whole film
Well,
culminates
I'm
in that
having-
moment. And it's like, okay, let's form this alliance.
I'm
What?
having to. Well, they had the same name, Andrew. I'm having
okay.
to ignore the fact. I'm having to ignore the whole story. I'm only saying Batman v Superman I put higher purely because of visuals and some of the fight sequences. Like when there's that moment towards the end where he like raids that second floor of
You
the
didn't
warehouse.
say you put it higher. Oh, then Suicide Squad.
Then Suicide Squad.
Okay.
When he like raids that second floor of that warehouse, that action sequence is honestly like that's freaking up there for action sequences in superhero films for me.
Sure.
But that being said, like the antagonist of the film was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah.
awful.
All right,
it was
let's
a bad
move out.
film.
Let's move out of this master category. Go see it. Don't go see it. It's up to you. Let us
see
know
it.
what you think.
Go see it.
Go see it. Go see it.
No, don't. You know what? Don't go see it.
I mean, you heard him.
And let us know what you think. Join us. I'm sure we'll hear about this in the Slack channel. Hop over to Slack if you're not part of that community and dialogue with us on there. It's been a while since we've had like such a contrasting opinion on a film. So I think it's been too long maybe.
We're off our cycle.
All right, Patrick, take us home.
Yep, absolutely. So this week I have art and design, which great category. It's probably one of the most difficult things is that everything kind of fits within the category of design, right? This is a bit broad, but there is something that very clearly fits this week, and that is Patreon. So Patreon has basically redefined their brand guidelines. So I'm including this in the show notes. It's patreon.com/brand/guidelines. And they've unveiled a new logo and a new way of approaching their style. So, 2 new colors. I'm going to give you the rundown briefly. It's now this kind of coral. It's like a dark peach almost, if you don't know what coral is. And then navy. You can guess what navy looks like. And so those are the 2 primary colors now. They have their word mark, which is literally the word Patreon with just a pipe after it. It almost looks a bit like an empty cursor sitting there. And then they have their logo. Now, this is the piece that has been a bit divisive. I'm going to first tell it to you in simple terms. The logo is a line in a circle. That is now their new logo. Now, a bit more complex than that. Imagine it's framed in a box. The line is pretty weighty, and it's the whole left side. So imagine a left border. And then contained in that box, the circle is up against the top border and then the right border. And I guess if you're looking at it and you squint your eyes, it makes a bit of a P for Patreon. But more than that, it's just 2 simple shapes. And then it always lives within the navy, the coral, or the white. And so that's the new mark. And you see the logo. They're displaying it in the footer of their site, and you'll also see it in their favicon if you're on the page. But otherwise, if you're looking on the logo on the site, you're going to see the word mark. So they've defined this new logo, and they've kind of re-upped their brand a bit. All the creator pages are still the same, and a lot of the site structure is still the same. They did switch typefaces. Now that being said, it's taking a lot of flack because people are looking at this and going, you had a really strong mark before. We could recognize your brand very easily. Orange is very bright, and it was very fun, and still a decently, it's a little outdated, but it is still decently up to date. The P mark they had before, it's a flat mark, and it was rounded. It had a good flow to it, so. But it's all gone away, and it's been replaced with a line in a circle. And of course, the internet is just blowing up about this, about how terrible it is, and it's awful, and you paid someone to do that, and those type of things. So, Andrew, Luke, have both of you seen this redesign? Have y'all seen this new brand?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm on the website right now. The whole thing has been redone.
Absolutely. So yeah, the homepage, the kind of about Patreon and stuff, all that looks different. Again, the creator pages are the same. The only thing you're going to notice is that the fonts have changed. More than that, the weights have changed, so it feels a little unfinished right now on the creator pages. But I'm sure those will get adjusted over the next couple weeks. Thoughts? I want to hear how y'all are feeling about this.
Luke, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not the guy to ask. I'll just say that. Like,
Okay.
no,
Well, then
I
I'll
mean,
go.
like, here's the thing. It doesn't. I understand why it is not good, but I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. To me, like, when I go to their website, I still know where I am, and I can still navigate around the website, and this logo doesn't interfere and doesn't mess with
Sure.
my ability to understand how the site works. So
And let me be clear, I'm not saying it's bad, but keep going. Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, if that's what they think the redesign needed to be, okay, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably a better way to do it, but whatever.
So my take on it is maybe very much the same. I mean, I do care to a certain extent. This is a company that we work with, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that matters to me. How they represent themselves matters to me to some degree. Do I think it's completely outlandish? No. Do I think it's lazy? Not necessarily. I am having a hard time understanding what this does for their brand.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So a brand, in my opinion, a logo should convey a bit of what the company, the organization, the person, whatever the individual does, or it at least should be representative of the kinds of things that they can do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So this to me says nothing. It looks like an unfinished I Heart New York shirt. Like they just started. Like if I was setting up an art board in Illustrator to make an I Heart New York shirt, and I was going to make my own heart and take two concentric circles and put a point in them, this is where I would start. Like 15% into that logo. This is what I would do. And so I'm having a hard time with that piece of it. But like Luke said, if this is what they felt is the best way they can convey what they do, there's got to be some intentionality into it, right? Maybe not, but we would assume, we want to give them the benefit of the doubt that there is some intentionality to it. I would be more... I think their marketing in this is what's failing, maybe. Because no one knows what it is or why they did it. That might be the biggest crux, is not so much the logo, but people are going to want to know why you're changing. And if you don't create that story for them, then they're gonna either not care or they're gonna take a side one direction or another. So I think that's my feelings. I like the colors. The website is actually really good. It makes sense in the function of the website. But standalone, it doesn't make sense. So
I've been going back and forth on this because I tend to, I've seen people get up in arms about stuff before, and a lot of times, give people a month and they'll feel differently. And to be fair, there's so many things that are considered beyond just the aesthetic of something. Certainly, the aesthetic is important, but there's things about is the logo. I think the term is responsive logos. Like, how does the logo behave across devices? How does the logo behave, with people with disabilities? Or how does the logo behave, print material and things like that? So there's so many considerations that go beyond necessarily the way that you're viewing it at that point. That being said, I think that two things you said, Andrew, probably hit the nail on the head for me. One of those is the idea of it being unfinished. It feels incomplete to me. It does not, and I think both marks. I think the word mark and the footer, what you see in the footer, but the icon, I think both feel like thoughts that weren't completed before they were unveiled. And I think the second thing is I'm not sure what it accomplishes. So if I go through this site, there are things in this that are good. So the icons, the way they've changed those on the homepage, those feel better. The weight, I think it's a bit heavy on the font or on the type that they've chosen. That being said, I think it does feel better and it does feel more up to date than the last iteration. I think that when you're kind of going through the sales pitch on the homepage, it feels better than the last iteration. I think that all of those things they did really well with, but it almost feels like in doing that, they felt a compulsion to upset the primary logo at the same time. And what I'm wishing they had done is made all of the updates to flow, made all of the updates to type and scale, made the updates to their icons. I wish they had done all that, but I wish they had left the mark alone. I think that the mark did a perfectly fine job. It's very recognizable. I'd be interested to see it in the coral color or living amongst the navy. It's fine that they wanted to introduce these heavy lines, but again, I don't think that upsets the original mark. So it feels unnecessary.
I disagree with that. I feel like the mark they had was dated. Like, we've seen a lot of that kind of like teardrop shape, kind of cocked and then something inside of it. Like, I think a redesign was good. I just, like Andrew has said, I'm still trying to understand how it fits with them.
If they were in, let's say they, if I was to take it a different way, I would have let the mark feel more in line with the iconography that they've brought onto the site in that case.
Okay.
Correct. I'd agree with that. It's a little bit too heavy compared to those.
Absolutely. So I think that is the direction I would have taken it instead of what they did. What they did, it felt, again, a bit compulsive, and it also feels unfinished. But there is still a lot of other really good stuff going on. Now, all that being said, Andrew, this may be more for you, not to disclude you, Luke, but
It's
Andrew,
fine.
what do you do if you spend time on something like this? Because a rebrand is a big deal. If you spend time on something like this kind of the centerpiece for your brand, and people hate it, like, what's your reaction? How do you handle that?
Sadness or anger. I mean, you don't change it, right? That's the thing. Like, they're committed to this. So here's what the commitment would look like on my part. If I roll this out and everyone's like, what the heck, blah, 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 and they're saying some of the things that we're saying, or they're hearing way more aggressive things like some of the people in the community are saying, tell the story. Repurpose or reposition yourself from a marketing front and explain to people why this makes sense. That's what I would do. I mean, you don't change it. You can't change it. You can't bend to the naysayers and the critics. You can't change it unless it's like obscene or, people are, you overlooked something that is brand like that is the opposite of what your brand is, right? Unless you accidentally create an anti-brand, don't change it, but do a better job of telling the story. I would regroup and say, okay, marketing team, how do we package this in such a way that people can get excited about it? Because we obviously were excited about it. So package the excitement and tell people why they should care too. So
Sure.
That's what I would do.
Okay, so final thing, I do want to say this about Patreon. Patreon is a great service. So as much as you may like, you may hate, you may whatever, the fact is what they do for artists is awesome. And they give...
While you head over and look at the new logo, maybe support somebody.
Exactly. I mean, because... they are giving people the opportunity to create that may not have had the opportunity otherwise.
Yeah.
And so if you're unfamiliar with the idea of Patreon, I mean, literally it's full of bloggers and artists and podcasters and people making videos and comics. And it's all of these creators that, this is what supports their livelihood. This is what gives them the bandwidth to be able to keep creating stuff that you're probably ultimately going to consume. So they provide an amazing service. So love it or hate it, just go sign up, find, 5 or 6 people, give them $1 a month. And while you're at it, I mean, this is no secret. We're on Patreon, and Patreon makes a huge difference in what we're able to do because we make this content. This content is free, and we want it to forever be free to you. It costs time and it costs money to make. And so Patreon helps, even in a very, very, very small way. It does help minimize some of that burden that we take on, and it increases the ways that we can bring you content, and it increases the production that we can wrap around that content. So Patreon's a great service, and even if you don't support us, support people. Like find people that are doing stuff that you like. Support them. I mean, I personally have a couple people that I'm supporting, beyond the work that I put into the podcast. So please do that. It's a very important thing. Let's see what happens. Maybe a month from now, I'm going to start arguing that it's the best move they possibly could have made. So
yeah, I mean, it's got us talking about Patreon for a good chunk, right?
That's true.
So that's good. So, man, you are full of public service announcements this episode. If you've walked away from this episode learning nothing, then you haven't listened to Patrick.
That's on you.
Just like
That's on
us.
you.
So we're going to go ahead and call that quits for this episode. You can find us on mof1podcast.com to find show notes and links to all of the fun, cool stuff we talked about in this episode. We mentioned Slack channel. Go over to mof1podcast.com/Slack to join the conversation. Let us know what your thoughts are about Wonder Woman and literally anything else. There's like 200 people in there day in and day out who are incredibly talented, cool, amazing, fun, just people who you want to be around. So join the community in there. And go to Patreon while you're at it. Go to support us on the support the show on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/mof1podcast. You can become a patron for as little as $1, like Patrick said. $5 gets you the blooper level, and you get a little extra content, and you get a special Slack channel that's just for patrons. And we do a little bit of different stuff in there. So there's some benefits to being a patron, to being a patron of the show. Something that is really important to note, if you are a regular listener to the show, something is changing. Starting this week, you will start hearing our voices one day earlier. Thursday will be our new Sandbox episode release date. So if you're already subscribed, you don't have to worry. It'll just show up one day earlier on your phone. If you haven't already subscribed, go to iTunes and Stitcher now so that you don't miss any of that content. You're not going to want to miss this week's episode. It's a good one. Man, the interview, gosh, it's good. There's a lots of really good stuff to take away from this one. So they come out Thursday now. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can count on us. Our regular schedule will be Tuesdays is this master category episode. Thursdays will be our Sandbox interview episodes from some leading person in the industry. Talking about something that you need to hear about. So I think that's everything. We're on social media, MF1 Podcast. We all have our own personal social medias. I'm at Andrew Sale with 3s instead of E's. Luke, you have one.
Yeah, Luke Gall. You can find me.
And Patrick is?
I'm the Great Patsby on Instagram. That's with 2 A's.
And one thing that we didn't mention before we get out of here is that if you subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher, you can rate and review the show. When you do that, it helps us a ton. It doesn't cost any money. It's a great way of supporting the show, letting us know what you think, giving us feedback. And when you do that, we will read your review on the air.
And we have a new one. So this is, oh gosh, I love this so much. Title of this is 3 Men, 1 Podcast. And this is by Mr. Jedi Rabbis. Now, here's what's funny real quick about this name. So I know Jedi because Jedi is in the Slack channel, mof1podcast.com/Slack. I'm assuming it's rabbis. It could be rabies.
Yeah.
I like it both ways. So
I
Jedi
like
rabies.
better.
My Mackenzie, my wife, was trying to say it like rabiz, but I'm pretty
maybe.
sure I would say it's not rabiz. So
It could
Jedi rabbis. Here we go. So, and this is in his voice. Let me preface this review with the fact that I detest Apple products. I have never owned... Well, hold on. I'm going to take a break real quick. The opinions expressed in this review do not necessarily reflect those of its parent company or subsidiaries. So anyway, back to it. I have never owned one, and I've never had an account with Apple. I downloaded iTunes and created an account with them solely to write this review. This should indicate how fun this podcast is. I originally discovered the cast through the Hero Complex Gallery board on Facebook. I'm not even a member of that board. And being that I am an avid collector of print and toys, I found the cast intriguing. The boys drew me in with their enthusiasm, knowledge, and silly on-air antics. obviously referencing you, Luke. They also provide links to everything they mention on the show in the show notes, so you don't have to go digging to find what they were talking about. Never during the cast does it feel like they're putting on an act. They are truly genuine. He misspelled genius, but it says genuine. There is even more... sorry, I just said that wrong. This is even more apparent if you join the Slack channel. Through the channel... Oh, misspoke again. Though the channel mostly caters to artists, everyone welcomes you with open arms, regardless of your background. I should know I can't draw to save my life.
Can you pause for 1 second here, Patrick?
Yeah.
Just pause. I think it's never been more apparent that you're not putting on a front than right now. You really are this illiterate.
I'm like 3 sentences from the end, guys. Okay. If you like posters, toys, games, and or film and TV, this cast is for you. And if you are part of the community, part of the art community, join Slack. It is a nurturing community that provides ideas and feedback to anyone that wants. I've tried to get so many of my artist friends to listen and join the community. Perhaps one day they will. Until then, they're missing out. Oh, and if they still have the coloring book, get it. It's awesome. So,
well,
man,
that's nice.
dang it. That
killed
is
it.
so freaking good. Gosh.
Way to go, Jedi Rabbi.
I, of course, love all our reviewers and reviews. I could never, rate them. If I did, Jedi would be my favorite. But I would
You could never do the thing that we literally ask people to do every single week.
No, I mean, it's like if you have a kid and you can never, admit, which one's your favorite, but, you secretly know which one's your favorite. I'm guessing because I'm the only one without kids. But, thank you, Jedi. That's awesome. And everything that you said is completely true, obviously. And we do actually have, let me point this out, we do have... I think 15 coloring books left, and that's it. So last 15, they're on. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can find it there. They're on our bigcartel.m1podcast.com, or I said that backwards. It's fine. Check the show notes. It'll be there. And pick up on the last ones. I do want to make one note about that. No one is posting that they colored in them.
That's what it's for.
We've seen over 100 of them because we have some APs too. We've been giving out to some people, like the artists and things like that. We've had over 100 of them go out the door, and no one has posted a single picture of a colored page yet.
We're looking at you, Jay Ratner.
I understand the book is beautiful. We know the book is beautiful because we didn't design it. It is better than it could possibly be if we had anything to do with it. It looks awesome.
To be fair, we did design it. I did design it.
Yeah.
The artwork that's in there is drawn by other people.
That's what I mean.
I want the record to
putting on an
state
act.
I've got tons of hours in that book.
I mean the actual pages
Patrick
you
never
color.
looked at it, but there are other people on this air right now who have designed it.
The actual pages that you color were designed by amazing artists.
I don't
color
disagree
in
with
them.
that.
They color in them, share them, show your friends. Mention
The artists
artist.
will love it. Yeah, the artists are dying to see that.
Do you want Aaron
stuff.
Draplin to retweet you? Color Aaron Draplin's page in the book. He'll retweet
might.
you.
He might.
Yeah,
No,
no,
Patrick is guaranteeing it. We will call him. Hey, did you see this? You need to retweet this.
Yeah. I have the password to his account. I'll tweet it. Don't worry about it.
Patrick can hack anybody's account.
But seriously, Jedi, thank you. Awesome review. Anybody, if you want to leave a review, we will read them on the air. Great stuff. And seriously, color in the coloring book, please.
Yeah. Next
So
time I'll
good.
read it so that we'll have someone who knows how to read. Hey,
Thanks.
guys, this has been a fun episode packed full of great stuff. I can't wait until next week when we have another episode that's just like this. So head over now to the stop button because it's over.
Go and put in an order for one stop.
Well, derailed a little bit there at the end, but we're going to get out of here because I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Luke.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hold on to your butts.
What time is it?
It's Matt's Cats.
What
I
time
thought
is
you were going
it?
to say it again. Like, why only once? It's not really.
Oh, I mean, I can chant it if you want to. I don't know.
It seemed like it was going to be like, what time is it? It's Master Cats.
What time is it?
It's Master Cats.
I said, what time is it?
I said a bisco disc.
That's a real thing.